many fans you earned this year.
Hello and welcome back to coverage of the PDGA Euro Tour. We are here at the second stop at the Konopiště Open, just south of Prague. We are at the Franz Ferdinand disc golf course, an incredible and historic venue for some fantastic disc golf. We are happy to be bringing you round one front nine FPO feature card coverage. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Rachel Turton.
Yep, looking forward to be doing my first round commentary, so let me know how it goes and we'll see.
We have getting our feature cards started. Kaidi Allsalu, already a European Championship under her belt at the first EPT stop. She is well poised for a good performance.
Second up, Annelie Tõugjas-Männiste. She's also had a fantastic start to her season and is looking to get another win.
Joining us on the feature card, Nikola Moravcová was on coverage already in Croatia just last weekend. You may be familiar with her from that coverage. She has a strong backhand, forehand, and putt, so I think she'll also be well equipped to do well here. Oh, and who do we have here?
Lastly, myself, I'm from the UK. This is my second tournament in Europe so far this year, and I'm looking forward to getting out on the course.
A great feature card here to get us started. And we move on. Start on hole 1. A downhill par 3 sitting at 122 meters. This is a daunting shot to get your round started. You have OB along the left side the entire way, as well as a very unforgiving drop zone which you see in the right of frame now, just leaving. A lot of players will opt for a backhand that pushes the right side tree line, maybe fading just before it, or if you want to play really safe, playing the forehand out the left that is sure to fade to the right.
Yeah, them flags this year make the forehand a little bit of a more difficult shot with the possibility of catching the early flags and dropping OB. So it's a tough first hole, and we'll see how we do.
We have Kaidi on the tee to get us started. Our first throw of the FPO field for the Konopiště Open. She's swinging the hyzer out, really pushing that tree line. You see a beautifully timed fade there as she comes in real quick. May actually have found OB long as we see the spotter working hard. She will.
Yeah, the greens are quite skippy early in the morning with the dew on the ground. It was a lovely shot, but just unluckily skipped just out.
So we see Annelie using a similar width here, looking to bring this one in slightly softer. She too will find some skip, but controls it really nicely to right outside bullseye. Great start.
Yeah, what a beautiful shot to start your round. Mm-hmm. Nikola on the tee just now. Let's see what she's got. A nice hyzer. It's coming in quite fast, hyzering out a little bit. And that just lands OB. So she'll be heading to the drop zone for her third shot.
Definitely playing as one of the most difficult holes, believe it or not. As we see Rachel now. Could you tell us a little bit about your game plan?
Yeah, of course. So I'm aiming to aim straight for the basket with a nice straight disc, the Prodigy Strider. But it just goes off into the trees on the right-hand side. It is not OB. It's safe.
And you will be contending with some obstacles in your way. But up first, Kaidi from the drop zone. This is by no means a putt. Still an upshot that is, manageable. Not easy.
A manageable upshot, but it's definitely not going to be a putt. I would be surprised if many people get it in from the drop zone. Nikola with a great shot. Landing just inside C1.
And were there any significant nerves on the card starting out a round at a major tournament that is really, the last tournament here was in 2021, so it's a rare venue that you're getting to play. How was the feeling on the card?
Yeah, I mean, I think that teeing off from a raised tee pad is always quite daunting, really. You don't want to be the one that falls off the tee pad. But once we got into it, I feel like we settled down a little bit. But that first tee shot is always pretty daunting.
A great putt there from Nikola, who manages to salvage the bogey. I think a common result from the drop zone. Really hard to make any sort of 3 from there. So oftentimes a 2 or a 4. And we see a great example of both there.
Yeah, definitely. This feels like it should be a really attackable hole, but actually maybe playing for par is the safer option. Kaidi tapping in with the bogey and myself tapping in with the bogey too.
As we see Annelie take the early lead by 2 strokes, she finds herself 1 under par and the remaining card mates 1 over. We now go to hole 2, a 131 meter par 4 that is sloping uphill the entire way and then to the left. You have this initial gap to hit between the rough on the left and the right. You need a piercing straight shot that battles up the hill and an extra bonus if you can get it left anywhere near or around the corner. As you then have a straight look from a great shot towards this well-guarded green, you will need a good touch to come in nice and soft and to avoid these final guardians.
Yeah, I think this is a really good adaptation. They've shortened the basket for the FPO players, and I think this makes it a really attackable hole, so I like this. Let's see who we've got on the tee. Annelie takes the tee. And a lovely drive, straight up the hill with a lot of power, getting past them first trees, and yeah, she's put herself in a great position.
We see Kaidi now. A little bit higher and wider, I think a slight late release there, looking to shape something straight. She came out on the hyzer angle and as a result will be pinched around the corner. We'll need to scramble from there. We see Nikola now.
Yeah, them trees, man, they get in your head. They're a pretty tricky obstacle to get around. If you get a shot past them, then you're doing pretty good. Nikola just sneaks through and yeah, we'll be in a good position. Myself on the tee just now. Let's see if I can get it past. Sneaking through them trees, a bit of a sneaky shot, a little bit closer to the trees than I would have liked to have gone, but it's left me in a good position, so I'm pretty happy.
A great shot there. I think the nose angle really contributing to whether or not you can get a full flight that pushes forwards. A lot of players battling up the hill will often under or over adjust the nose angle, but a lot of good shots there. As we see now, Nikola continuing to scramble. She shapes the hyzer, looking to get around the corner, pushes it a touch too straight and kicks into the rightwards rough. She will continue to scramble towards the green now.
Next is Kaidi. Just needs a straight shot just through that big gap. And she's done it very nicely. Leaves herself a little short of the circle. It's still a big uphill shot for the second shot as well. We're still contending with quite a hill here. Let's see how Annelie can do. Good power, a little hyzer, so leaves herself just outside the circle as well.
And still significantly sloping right to left as they bend the corner. That uphill has now become a sloped fairway. Rachel, we see your shot here now looking really nice on the right side, catching a soft fade and right into bullseye.
Yeah, I managed to get the nice straight shot with the strider, so I was happy with that shot. It was really good.
Nikola, looking to scramble with the forehand hyzer, finds herself a skip and a roll for good measure. Also right up there putting.
Yeah, it's a perfect shot. That was a great scramble. Kaidi with a long look. Leaves it just left. Annelie from just outside the circle as well. So close. In, hits the chains, hits the pole and back out again. Unlucky.
Oh, a mean one as she almost finds herself 2 through 2. We see Kaidi there collecting her second bogey so far. As we see some shorter putts now, Nikola connects with that one on the strong side, securing her par. No damage done.
But the chain fell off while she was putting, so she just took a second to adjust it just before I tapped in.
So some damage done, actually. Not to the scorecards, but to the basket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Annelie tapping in the par as well.
A great hole too. Not necessarily the most difficult, but still requiring some good power and touch. Really makes you feel like you're playing disc golf early on in the round. Between holes 1 and 2, it asks everything of you. And then you go to hole 3. A 317 meter par 5. This shot off the tee requires a big straight distance, likely a soft turnover, sloping right to left the entire way. You need to utilize some understability to turn to ensure that you don't fade out left for the right-handed backhand. You then battle through these enormous trees into a wide open fairway that just continues further on and on as you battle once again all the way down over this sloping hill into this green. Very common to end up short on the approach here as it is a significant distance. This one is a tough birdie to get. I think a lot of players will walk away happy with a par.
Definitely in the FPO field. Yeah, this is playing as the hardest hole, nearly a stroke over par. So let's see what these ladies can do. Tee shot from Rachel here. It just, makes it down the fairway and it's nice and safe.
We'll see Annelie now. She's shown to be comfortable with the forehand, but opting for the backhand here. Although if this does not continue to turn, perhaps a fortunate branch keeping her from fading towards OB.
Agreed, yeah, she has a fantastic turn of a backhand, but just leaks it into the tree. Nikola with the forehand and, catches some early branches and hyzes out a bit.
We'll see Kaidi now. A little bit of a difficult start for her, going 2 through 2 bogeys. She will look to hopefully find her stride and bring back together either the elusive birdie or potentially the par, as we see Nikola now shaping the forehand hyzer, just beating those branches. She has put herself in the open for a big drive on her third throw.
Yeah, she makes the corner. It was a lovely shot. Annelie scrambling now a little bit and a lovely forehand. Very close to making the corner, but we'll just have one last tree to contend with before she throws the big shot. Kaidi with the turn of a backhand. Has she turned it enough? She just catches the last tree and will also have a couple of trees to contend with.
As we see you, once again, Rachel, shaping the forehand there, getting a significant ground play considering how low out of the hand it was, but got some distance still.
Exactly as I drew it up. Yeah, Nikola with the great third shot. She just clips the last tree, but she will have a nice clear look at the basket now.
Still probably about 120 or 130 meters to the basket, although downhill requires still some big distance from there. As we'll see Annelie now, her third shot here, once again leaning on that forehand to ensure that she can shape around the corner, gets a nice slide and is now firmly on that down slope, will offer her a nice drop off to get some distance with.
Yeah, leaves herself in a great position to attack the basket on the next shot. I drive through the gap. I'm very happy with that shot. It just leaks a little bit to the left, but I'll have a nice look at the basket on the next throw.
So we see Kaidi now. Getting some good power on this, flips it up to flat, also right through the gap, fading just a touch toward Rachel's shot there. Both of them will be left with about 70 or 80 meters to the green, but very deceptive. This right to left sloping fairway really encourages something high and wide, just like that, as we see Nikola here try to get her way up there, and that is a very common landing zone, as we mentioned, about 20 to 30 meters short, simply because of the slope and the distance required.
Yeah, such a huge hole. It does require a lot of shots and some very high power shots, yeah. Annelie now looking to attack the basket. She throws a great powerful backhand and hopefully is going to get a little bit skip. Perfectly lands herself in the circle. Great shot.
Just pin high there. We'll be left with about 6 meters. Kaidi also playing this hyzer approach. I thought a little bit too left, but it sits down nice and quick.
Yeah, she knows her disc very well. That was a perfect shot. Myself choosing the forehand to try and counteract that slope. A little bit right, but pin high, so should be an easy putt.
Nikola here from under the branches gives us a jump putt out and secures herself a stress-free tap in there. And we'll see Annelie now from about 7 meters. A great
putt. Mm-hmm. That was a fantastic putt. Yeah, nice and confident, and yeah, a good way.
She really does have a confident putting stroke from circle 1, circle 2. She likes to go for it. And Rachel, you put this one in as well for par. Are you playing this one for birdie?
I think this is one where I'm just trying to get the par, really. It's very difficult to be able to attack it in just 3 strokes to have a look at birdie. So yeah, I'm happy with the par.
I think relative to the field, certainly gaining strokes here on hole 3. As we see Nikola now with her short tap in, found some trouble early on, and as a result will card the bogey here on 3. We move on to hole 4, par 3 at 87 meters. You are once again battling this right to left slope, although as you approach the green, it tends to flatten out just before this mound. You have a tight, tunnelish looking shot with rough to the left and the right. About 80 meters up, you have a 5 to 7 meter width of gap that you want to hit and then land nice and soft to try to secure the birdie.
Yeah, if you can get yourself into that gap, then you'll have a look at the birdie, so that will be a good shot for the women. I'm going with a nice straight mid-range here, the strider. Trying to make it through that gap, but just leak it a little bit left. But luckily pushed through, and yeah, I'm on the green.
I think tending to be the most common result is out that left side. As we'll see Annelie now. You can see just how late in the fairway that gap is from this angle. She pushes something quite straight as well, but catching some leftwards fade, she pierces through and gets a pretty significant skip out to circle 2, but will be putting back uphill.
Kaidi now. With a slight early release. Just catches the trees on the left and will leave herself with a bit of an upshot. Now to Nikola. A forehand, yeah, it's a lovely shot on this hole because the green is sloping from the right to the left, and so yeah, the forehand really sets it well. She just leaves herself under the trees, but will have an out, have a putt.
We see Kaidi here with a short upshot shaping a Anheuser release from the hand with a pretty stable looking disc. Nice and soft, she settles just outside bullseye. I think no worries for the 3 from there.
Nikola from under the trees gives it a run and just flies past the basket, but she'll have a close about 7 meters in for the par.
Annelie, we mentioned her confident putting stroke, gives it a bid even from circle 2. As you see the smile on her face, she's happy to have given that an honest bid that was quite close. So we see Rachel now with the wide straddle catching the final branch on her way. And Kaidi securing the 3. Confident putt from a short distance.
Yeah, and hopefully the other 2 will put it in the basket. Nikola from just outside the bullseye with a confident putt. Takes the par. And I'll also tap in for the par.
Oh, I didn't leave the mystery for the viewers that time. But a short putt left there as Rachel is sitting at even, Nikola at +2, tied with Kaidi, and Annelie retaining her 1 under par. Here you see the beautiful elevated tee of hole 5, a 219 meter par 4. You want to shape something on an Anheuser backhand or potentially power forehand if you opt to go for that off the tee. You want to battle. There are 2 fairways actually. We are taking the more traditional of the 2 on the left. There's also one right of these trees on the right, which allows for the hyzer approach around the backside. But this one is another hole that you're really battling the slope, and any error in your nose angle or hyzer angle is sort of amplified by the fact you're on the elevated tee with a big sloping fairway, OB to the left the entire way.
Yeah, hole 5 is the 3rd most difficult hole, plays as a 4.78. So let's see how these women get on. I'm attempting to go up the shorter, the first fairway with a hyzer forehand. Makes it through trees and leaves me in a decent position. Annelie with the distance, she's throwing the turnover backhand with that trusty disc, hoping just not to hyzer out too much, but also leaves herself with a really clear backhand just up to the next for the next shot.
Having faded left so far, it will leave her with significant distance, but we see Kaidi here opting for a similar shot to you, Rachel, playing the forehand hyzer to the right of the early trees, will contend with a large fallen log to battle over. And Nikola looking for the same, but with a slightly early release, she finds the first obstacle and will not bite off too much distance on a hole that is really requiring a significant amount. As we see what she's left with here, still obstructed, she's going to continue to battle up this hill and around these obstacles.
Yeah, she made it just over the fallen tree, I believe, but we'll see how her footing is for the next shot. Annelie with the big uphill backhand now. It doesn't look particularly uphill on the coverage, but trust me, it is when you're playing it. You need a lot of distance to be able to bite off that shot. She's done a really good job. Myself and Kaidi and Nikola will now go through the other fairway, the earlier fairway, just throwing backhands as far as we can up the hill, just to try and bite off as much distance as we can and get ourselves closer to the green.
Yeah, from near that fallen log, you do need about 130 or 150 meters still with the adjusted height difference. And we see a really nice shot there, forehand fighting against the hill. Just within circle 2, slow pan to the basket for drama, obviously.
A great third shot from Nikola, and yeah, she'll give herself a look at the basket for the next shot. Myself just going with the backhand, and actually flying way past the basket, I believe just caught by the tree just under there. Kaidi opting for the low forehand with a bit of a skip, and puts it in nice and close to the basket. Perfect.
And a lot of these greens that are heavily sloped can provide a risk of rollaway that is something you keep in mind when you're on the green as well as approaching. As we see Annelie with a nice short upshot, putting herself right in bullseye. Nikola now with a long look.
Nikola to try and save par, just a little low, but it is a very uphill shot still, so it was a difficult one. Myself putting from just behind the trees, quite obstructed. I'm having to bend down quite a lot, but managed to make the putt, so that feels good. Par for myself.
Very solid looking putt with the low ceiling. Nicely done. And Nikola now with her short tap in. Hole 5 is another one that I think is a lot of players are walking away with par and feeling all right about it. It's personally one of my favorite. It offers a variety of fairways as well as shots. Is your game plan to play around that first fairway every time?
Yeah, that's the game plan that I'm going with. I tried to throw the longer forehand to attack the second fairway, but I think my more reliable shot is the first fairway.
And we see here hole 6, a 115-meter par 3 with OB along the left side the entire way, and of course a sloping fairway. This time right to left, you see these final 2 guardians blocking your entrance to the green. This one is for most a soft flex backhand, but the danger is that you underturn it. Given the slope, it's very common for people to fade out left, although if you get enough distance, you can still have a putt to salvage par.
Yeah, it plays a little shorter than 115. It's slightly down the hill. We'll see how these ladies can attack it. I'm going with the mid-range again, the strider, and just trying to throw the straight shot. Pretty good release. Lands just a little short and a little on the right-hand side, but I would say that right is probably better than left as it's the safer side.
So we see Annelie now shaping what looks to be I think she was hoping for a flex there, but again, erring to the side of caution on the right of the fairway. Both of those drives, I believe, around circle 2's edge.
Yeah, I think we both expected a little more fade from the discs, as we see Kaidi driving off the tee and just turning it over a little bit too much. But it has a nice flex and comes back a bit, getting caught up in the tree. So yeah, she'll be just outside C2 as well. Nikola lining up the forehand. She's got great power there, but it's going to hyze her out a little bit early as well. She'll be about 30 meters away for the approach. The approach will be downhill towards the basket and has the OB behind it, so these will be difficult shots.
Nikola up first, playing the safe forehand. I think a common result for her. And a lot of forehand players ending up on the right there. She has a good pace to settle that one nice and soft within bullseye. Kaidi now between the 2 trees. Also matching the grade of the hill, ensuring not to get any skip or roll. We see Rachel now. Just a soft layup, or was that a bid?
A half bid. I guess it's a pretty difficult basket to run at with the OB being behind. Let's see what Annelie can do. She also just has a soft layup and is nice and close to the basket.
And Annelie so far, the only one bogey free so far through the first round. Really nice control over her discs in the fairway. And a good putt from you there, Rachel, securing your par. Nikola now, some short putts here, likely just a formality. As hole 6, not too much damage done. Definitely a hole you can attack for birdie, but some danger to be had.
Definitely, yeah, it is definitely an attackable hole, just being playing probably like 100 meters. So it definitely could be an attackable hole for these FPO ladies.
Here you see hole 7, an 82-meter par 3, but playing significantly uphill. It is not 82 meters. It is a pure tunnel shot the entire way. Although you have no OB, any kick off a tree outside of the tunnel will leave you with a heavily obstructed look back to the fairway or green. This one for a lot of players is a driver, hard and driven, shaping either a hyzer flip up to flat or a soft flex with an anhyzer release to battle the uphill slope.
Agreed, this definitely plays much further than 82, probably plays like over 100 meters. It's very uphill, and the tight tunnel makes it quite a difficult shot. I go for the driver as well, and just early release into one of the first trees. That's not an ideal position.
I think quite common given the uphill tee pad, that final step, if the timing isn't right on the release, it's common uphill to early release and downhill to late release. We'll see Annelie here. She pushes this one up a little bit too high. Will catch some fade, but some good distance and sat down nicely. She'll be looking for a circle to putt for her birdie.
Kaidi takes the tee now. Also throwing a driver. Great power. A nice release, but unfortunately just catches some branches on the right-hand side, which tips her into the left, and she will also have a look from C2. Nikola with a lovely hyzer flip. Doesn't quite get up to flat, but gets a lot of distance up there. She'll also have a run at the basket.
So you see Rachel now getting that approach in, playing to the right side on a hyzer angle, sneaks past that final tree and gets a nice little cut roll backwards towards the basket, looking to be about 6 or 7 meters remaining here for par. We'll see Kaidi now hunting the very elusive birdie on 7. A solid jump putt, and it is in.
What a brilliant putt. I think maybe she was even outside C2. It's a nice safe bid to run uphill, and she catches it perfectly. It's a brilliant putt. Annelie now, also from circle 2. Trying to repeat Kaidi, but just leaves a tiny bit to the right. She should have an easy look from inside the bullseye. Nikola from C2 as well, a great jump putt, just over the basket, but some great runs from these ladies.
And a confident looking putt from Nikola, as always. Rachel, we see you find chains on the right side and just out on the right. I think a short putt remaining, hopefully, as Nikola now back to her comebacker. We see the spectators respectfully moving out of her line. And she puts that one right in the heart, securing her par.
It may not have been all that far, but them downhill shots with the people behind and thinking about the roll down the hill always feels much scarier. Annelie also tapping in for the par, and myself tapping in for bogey.
Kaidi taking 1 stroke on Annelie and Nikola, 2 on Rachel. As the battle does continue, the scores tighten up a little bit. We move to hole 8. A 90-meter par 3, one of the most attackable holes on the course. Fairly flat the whole way. You have an opening here that you want to fight a disc through this final tree line, hitting one of the available gaps. You can play a forehand air shot, forehand skip shot, backhand turnover, backhand skip shot. Really a shooter's choice. You can pick your shape and a disc that you're comfortable pushing to this 90 meters, where you're then left to contend with an elevated basket. A great hole.
Yeah, I think the addition of the elevated basket is a really great hole. And like you say, there's lots of different options for people to choose. Kaidi is going to go with the turnover backhand. That must be quite an understable disc. It has a great flip and probably leaves her just short of C1. It's a nice shot.
See Annelie now. The more traditional line, if you do have the distance on the forehand, we see her getting a really nice shape up there, beats the last tree and actually skips long onto that stump at the back. I think she'll be just within the circle.
Yeah, fantastic. She has so much power with the forehand. It was a brilliant shot. Nikola also going forehand. A nice skip there into the circle. And yeah, she's just outside the bullseye. Fantastic shot. Myself also with the forehand. Hyzers a little bit and then randomly gets stuck in the middle of the tree. I was glad that the 2-meter rule wasn't in play. It was about 15 meters to the basket maybe from here.
Interesting, as we see you simply approaching there, making sure to not contend with that elevated basket and plucking a ripe fruit from the trees, securing the disc. Good to see. Kaidi now giving it a bid, and she finds the chains.
Yeah, her putter was on fire. She was feeling really good at that point after making the previous C2 putt, and yeah, I was excited to put another one in. Fantastic to see. Annelie will also try and match Kaidi. Gives it a great run, but unfortunately just leaves it a little bit low, bangs the cage, but should have an easy tap and putt. Nikola now for the birdie, unfortunately just to the right-hand side. That elevated basket just makes even the shorter putts feel much more difficult. She leaves herself with a little bit of a comebacker now, about 7 meters out.
Definitely encouraging a strong putting routine. There are no free putts here, but that one looking really solid from Nikola, taking the par. You see a little bit of frustration from her, understandably, but very solid to compose herself. Annelie with the turbo tap in, and Rachel, you as well, walking up for the stress-free 3.
Tap in par, that's not too bad.
As we look to close out this front 9, you see here a par 4 sitting at 288 meters, although it plays at significantly less. This is downhill the entire way. You want a straight to fading shot that goes as far as you can, opening up into a super generous fairway. You then have more distance required as you've tried to battle through this second gap in the trees. You see this large hanging willow tree, potentially?
Yeah, I would agree. Probably a willow tree, and a very common disc catching tree as well. It's will catch lots of discs up in the fairway.
And a very thoughtful design as you come in here. You do have OB long. This is another one that requires big distance to birdie, as well as precision getting through the second gap, avoiding all the OB. We see Kaidi on the tee, exactly as described, straight to softly fading at the end, playing downhill. This has a great pace and gets the full flare. Even a couple meters extra roll. Great shot from Kaidi. Really picture perfect.
A fantastic shot, almost up to the 150 meter mark. Yeah, it's wonderful. Let's see if Annelie can. She has a very strong release, slightly understable disc, and just flips it a little bit into the wind. I believe she's just on the right hand side of the fairway, just into them trees. Nikola now also with the backhand. Hyzer flip. Yeah, flips up to flat. Is gonna hyzer out a little bit, but will still be on the fairway.
And if you are on the left side, it encourages the big hyzer on the second. If you're on the right side, it's a little bit more of a straight shot. So we see Rachel here getting the high fighting hyzer, fading beautifully before the tree line. Tons of pace as well. Big finish. That is also middle of the fairway. Very nice placement. So we'll see Annelie now. An awkward patent pending stance, trying to release an anhyzer to get full distance, but you see her do exactly that. Fights through or around the trees, a little bit unclear, but still getting a nice full flight.
Yeah, she's perfectly in the middle of the fairway now, ready to attack for her next shot. Kaidi looking to go full distance, leaves it a bit high and is going to hyzer out. Hyzers out just into the OB, unfortunately. She just needed to push a little bit further, a little bit longer to be able to stay safe. Myself also with the backhand looking to correct. And into that willow tree that we talked about. It fortunately just pushes through it. And it leaves me inside the circle after 2 shots.
Really nice. I thought a little bit of foreshadowing, mentioning the disc catcher, but managing to sneak through that one. We see Annelie now. Exactly that towards that catcher, and it sits her disc right down. She will be, I think, still outside circle 2, likely just a jump putt approach downhill.
Yeah, another downhill look, another sloping fairway. Let's see how the ladies get on. Nikola with the forehand up shot. She's playing from a great position in the middle of the fairway. A nice high hyzer shot, leaving the disc to do the work, and puts herself inside to the circle. Kaidi taking the shot from her OB shot, looking to put it close to the basket and have the nice easy putt. Yeah, she just bounces just outside the bullseye, and yeah, we'll have a go at bogey. Will it be now? Yeah.
I believe she'll be looking to save the bogey. This is a touchy upshot. It's not particularly long, but one of the fastest greens on the course. You can see that there's that sparse grass and the OB behind. You really need to control your pace, as we'll have Nikola up first on the green. Beautiful putt there. Strong side, securing her par. And I liked there was always just a little gallery here on 9. Behind the banners, they were loving to watch the action, and a great birdie there from you, Rachel.
Yeah, this hole is a very difficult birdie. It is a long way. It does play shorter than 288, but it's very nice to be able to put the birdie in. Annelie now, from a similar distance, about 7 meters away, just leaves it right. And yeah, we'll leave herself a couple of meters outside of the bullseye for the comebacker. Nice confident putt. She puts it in, but yeah, cards a double bogey on this hole.
And it is not without its danger here. Hole 9. So we see Kaidi now. Oh, almost bouncing back towards her. She does save the bogey, 4 throws, but with the penalty stroke of her second going OB, does find a 5. Some fireworks here on the final hole of the front 9.
It's been an exciting front 9, yeah. You should definitely tune in for the back.
And as we take a look at the top 10 standings, we see one player in the solo lead, Kristi Unt at 1 under, 2 players tied in second, yourself, Rachel, with Sophie Björlicke at even, as well as 3 players tied in fourth, Annelie, Jenny, and Kaidi at 1 over. A lot of golf left to be had, but some great stuff so far.
Tight after the front 9, yeah. Not a lot of separation in the field, so it will be very exciting to watch the back.
Thank you for joining us here for this Round 1 Front 9 FPO coverage. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All the good YouTube stuff to support us, and we'll see you on the back 9.
See you on the back 9.